Hi guys, Eric here and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be walking you through the buying process of a pre-loved vehicle. Having learned some rather expensive lessons during my short life, and the third wave of Corona making live car reviews a bit tricky, I've decided to give you a detailed list of things to keep in mind when purchasing a used vehicle. This video might seem a tad long, but it is comprehensive and essential to anybody in the used car market. Cars are intricate pieces of machinery that requires maintenance and owners who care for them. You take care of it, and it takes care of you. Still, I have added some time codes which will make it easier for you to navigate the video, and there will be a link to a PDF version in the description box below that you can take along with you. So, without further ado, let's get started. I have always been fascinated by the used car market, probably because of the huge variety of products on offer. From nearly brand new to classics of decades ago, from mint condition to total scrap heaps, and everything in between. But the thing I love most about this vast market has to do with value. There are some truly remarkable bargains out there. It's merely a question of where to look and what to look for. Because, as always, all that glitters isn't necessarily gold. Now, there are three basic ways that you can purchase a car. You can buy one from a dealership, you can buy one from a private owner, or you can buy one at an auction. Now, each one of these options have their very own pros and cons. When buying a car from a dealership, you are dealing with a middleman who wants to make a profit off of his or her vehicles, which means that in general, cars are a tad more expensive at dealerships than they are in the other sectors. However, dealerships have to abide by the Consumer Protection Act of South Africa. This act can't be signed away by any contract drawn up by the dealerships. It is basically a list of laws that protect you from buying a product that you're not satisfied with. Now, there are a lot of parameters to the CPA, so be sure to familiarize yourself with it. It will save you a lot of headaches down the road. Dealerships also provide you with a certificate of roadworthiness that helps when you want to register the vehicle, and it gives you some peace of mind. Buying a car privately is usually a place where you might find some bargains, but with these bargains come a bigger risk. When buying a car privately, the CPA does not apply, which means that once the deal is done, it can't be undone. The seller is also under no obligation to fix anything on the car after it is sold, which leaves you a tad exposed. Buying a car at an auction is definitely the wild card of the bunch. Cars sold at auction is in general much cheaper than those you might find in the private sector or at dealerships. There is a very good reason for this though. It comes with much higher risk. In general, auction houses don't allow you to test drive the car before you start bidding on it. Considering how many moving parts there are in a car, this is a rather important bit of information you are denied. It is also a high-pressure environment when bidding on cars, especially at a live auction. The CPA does not apply to cars sold at auction either, so I wouldn't recommend this option to the average buyer. Regardless though, there are no guarantees. Even after doing excessive homework, there is always a chance that you might buy a lemon. This is true for buying a new car too, so don't let this put you off of the used car market too much. Life is all about risk calculation, and with my list, you can reduce your risk by a considerable margin. To start off with, make a list of parameters that your next car has to meet, ranging from most important to least. For example, fuel efficiency, performance, off-road ability, safety, reliability, performance, etc. There are some other things to consider when buying your next companion. One is a full service history. This is important for more than one reason. It indicates that the car's fluids and filters have been replaced at the right time according to its manufacturer. Also, it gives you a peek into the car's life. A car with a full service record indicates an owner that cared for it. Another thing that you would want to see is that the car is accident-free. I will go into this in a bit more detail later, but it is good to know that the car hasn't been in any accidents. There are some other factors for when buying newer used cars, like a balance of factory maintenance or service plan, as well as factory warranty. These factors can reduce your cost of ownership by a big margin. Next up is knowing where to look. Technology has made it so easy for absolutely everyone to find exactly what they're looking for. The internet is filled with used car websites with excellent search engines and filters. My personal favorite remains AutoTrader. AutoTrader has a massive list of cars on its database. Most of the cars on sale there is from dealerships. If you're interested in private sales, Gumtree is a good place to look, as well as Facebook's marketplace. Now, these are only the websites I use. There are loads more excellent options out there. It is really a matter of personal taste. Once you have found a car that has piqued your interest, it is time to phone the seller and make sure that the car is still available. Also confirm some details of the ad, like the mileage of the car and whether it has a full service history or not. While you have him or her on the phone, ask for the car's VIN number. VIN stands for Vehicle Identification Number, much like your very own ID number. When buying from a dealer, it's a good idea to ask up front what the on-the-road fees will be. It differs from dealership to dealership. If buying privately, be sure to start the conversation with a blanket question, like, is the car still available? If they ask which one, chances are they are a dealership trying to disguise themselves as a private seller. Once you have the VIN number, you can pull a vehicle history report. AutoTrader is one of the websites that offers this service. For 99 Rand and the vehicle's identification number, it gives you a full history report of the car. It tells you who the current owner is, if the car is under finance, if it has been stolen, and whether it has been in any accidents. This is merely for extra peace of mind, especially when you're buying privately. TransUnion is another website that offers this great service. Now, it is time to talk about insurance. You pay car insurance in a monthly installment, much like when you finance a car. Now, these rates can differ immensely based on different risk factors as well as other price-related parameters. In South Africa, some cars are considered by insurance companies to be of a higher risk than others. This means that you will pay a higher monthly fee to have your car insured. High-risk cars include, but are not limited to, a Toyota Fortuner, Volkswagen Polo, and BMW X5. The price differences between these high and low-risk cars can be quite big. According to hippo.co.za, for example, a 2019 VW Polo 1.2-litre turbo DSG Highline with My Driving Details returned a monthly installment of at least 1,044 Rand. A 2019 Renault Clio 1.2-litre turbo GT line with the same driving information returned a monthly premium of more than 300 Rand less at 703 Rand a month. Even the popular 2019 Hyundai i20 1.4 N series came in at less than 700 Rand a month. These prices can make a big difference in your monthly budget, so be sure to get insurance quotes of all the cars you're interested in before you sign on that dotted line. If you're happy with the vehicle history report, make an appointment for a physical inspection on a clear and sunny day. It is highly recommended that you inspect the car and test drive it before purchasing. The camera can sometimes lie, so don't view the car when it's raining or when it's dark. This is where you can finally get to know your possible future companion. Now, there is one really important thing to remember. Take your time. This is quite a big investment, so be sure to check out the following. If, for instance, you're buying from a private seller, be sure that he or she has the NATIS document, which is essentially an ID book for your car. Make sure that the car is in their name and that it has been paid off if it was financed. Make sure that the license disc is up to date to avoid any penalties when you register the car in your name, and ask the seller if he or she has the spare keys. Buying a new spare key can be extremely expensive. For this car, we had to shell out 8,000 Rand to buy one and have it programmed, so make sure that it has one. Now for the inspection part. Most cars have consistent gaps between the panels from the factory. If there are inconsistencies between the two panels, that could be a sign of accident damage. If there is a panel that sticks out a bit more than usual, that can also be a sign of a replacement part or of a fix. These are some wear and tear safety items that can cost a small fortune to replace. There are little indicators within the tread itself which tells you where the legal limit is. Tires can also tell you if a car's wheel alignment is off. It communicates this via an uneven wearing pattern, which means this side has less tread than this side or the other way around. Now this can mean anything from a quick trip to super quick to something a tad more serious. Now, some paint jobs are so fantastic that you can barely spot a difference between the two colors. However, they can hide some accident damage. A good way to spot a resprayed panel is to look for tiny paint droplets in between the two panels. It is called a cat's eye, and it is a telltale sign of a resprayed panel. Now, a spray job isn't necessarily a deal breaker. It could just be because of hail damage or sun damage, but it is important to know if a car is original or not. Don't be too discouraged by tiny bumps or scratches on your car. They can tell you exactly what the damage is, as opposed to a resprayed panel that can mean absolutely anything. You can also use these bumps and scratches to lower the asking price of the car, and you can get some quotes on how much it will cost to fix it before you buy it. Now, thankfully, with our climate, rust isn't as big of an issue as it is elsewhere, but it is always a great idea to have a thorough look around the car for any signs of rust. Usual places include underneath the wheel arches. If you spot any paint bubbling in any of the paintwork, that is also a sign of possible rust. Now, you can limit rust to an extent, but once it has started, it is almost impossible to completely eliminate it. Start your car and have a close listen for any metal-on-metal knocking or clashing. Thankfully, this engine sounds healthy. Lastly, be sure to give the engine a good rev. If you spot any blue smoke coming from the exhaust pipes, it is because your engine is burning oil because of an oil leak. This can be because of a leaky valve seal or a problem with the piston ring, though there can be many different cheap and expensive reasons for it. Check the service booklet to make sure that the car has been serviced at the right times. Turn on the ignition and see if there are any warning lights. This could indicate a failure somewhere. Taste every single button in the car. Now, this might seem rather tedious, especially in more luxurious cars, but it will indicate if there are any electrical bugs that need sorting out. If applicable, see that the aircon blows cold. Lastly, check under the carpets and feel for any dampness. This might indicate water ingress into the cabin, which may lead to rust. The test drive is an integral part to the buying process. This will be the first time that you get to see what it would be like to live with this car. So ask yourself these questions. How does this car make me feel? Do I feel safe enough in it? Is it quick enough? Is it comfortable enough? Is it luxurious enough? Is it practical enough? If you are happy with the way the car makes you feel, focus on the mechanics of the test drive. Are there any noises coming from the suspension when I go over undulations or speed bumps? Are there any noises coming from the steering wheel? In an automatic, does the car change gears smoothly? In a manual, does the clutch take low enough? And is it easy enough to engage different gears? Do the brakes shudder when I slow down? Because this might be a sign of warped discs. Do the brakes squeal when I slow down? This could be a sign of dust in between the discs and the pads, or that the pads could be reaching the end of their lifespan. When it is safe to do so, be sure to do an emergency stop. If the car veers to either side, that could mean that the car's brakes need replacing. Over rougher surfaces, are there any noises emanating around the cabin? Because trust me, that will get on your nerves after a while, and rattles can be quite tricky to locate and therefore fix. Be sure to make mental notes of the answers to these questions and talk to the sales representatives after the test drive. Most of all though, be sure that you enjoy being in it. If you're satisfied with how the car looks on the outside and on the inside, and you're happy with the way it drives, you can move on to the very last step, purchasing it. Many private sellers will demand a cash payment like an instant EFT or bank deposit. Dealerships offer financing, paying off the car in monthly installments over a couple of years. Make sure that you are happy with the interest rate though, and that there aren't any added services that you didn't agree to. Another thing companies love to offer is an extended aftermarket warranty. I am planning on doing a full consumer report on one of those warranties in the near future to see if they are at all reliable. Until that report though, I wouldn't recommend it, as some of the reviews I read aren't that positive. Instead, I would set aside at least 15,000 Rand to cover any unforeseen repairs. Once you sign the contract, the car is yours, and you can rest assured that you did absolutely everything in your power to make an educated decision on the next member to your family. I wish you many happy miles in your new used car. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Until next time. Bye.